Coming up next on Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable, the governor releases his budget plans today. We'll crunch some of the numbers and we'll see how those numbers correspond with the governor's State of the State speech earlier this week. The Journalists Roundtable is next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable. I'm Ted Simons. Joining us tonight, Jeremy Duda of the Arizona Capital-Times, Bob Christie of the Associated Press, and Luigi Del Puerto of the Arizona Capital-Times. Governor Doug Ducey released his budget plan today, and there's so much to go over here. Jeremy, were there any surprises, any shocks? What do we see?
It's dependent on kind of a case-by-case program. You know, as we'll get to later, he had the State of the State Monday. He talked about a lot of beautiful programs that he wanted to spend some new money on, all kinds of new stuff. All week we've been hearing, well, we're going to withhold judgment until Friday. Wait till Friday. We got to see what's in the governor's budget on Friday. Today's Friday. We've seen it, and what we see is probably, I think, a little more spending than probably some of us anticipated. You know, for so long, the Joint Legislative Budget Committee had been talking about how we're only going to have, $24 million for extra spending. Governor Ducey has $176 million in new spending. About $83 million of that is ongoing. The rest of it's one-time spending, and the bulk of that is going to be going into K-12 for a wide variety of interesting programs here.
$9.8 billion budget supposedly will end with a $17 million surplus. But between now and then, as Jeremy mentioned, did the numbers meet expectations?
I think so. I think there was some concern among the fiscal conservatives in the legislature after Monday's State of the State address, where the governor ticked off 15 new school initiatives. And everyone knows that the schools in this state have real financial problems, even after last year's voter-approved initiative, which gives them several $100 million a year in new cash. So when the governor said he wanted to have teacher salary increase, and he said he wanted to have teacher academies so that students could go to school and come out of university without debt, I mean, everybody was ticking off all of those, and on the back of the envelope going, well, there's 20 million and there's 50 million. Well, that's not what the governor did. What the governor did was much more nuanced. And, it's a big top-line number. It's $114 million in new K-12 spending, but it's split among a whole series of little things. So no one item gets, okay, we're going to fix it with this.
Indeed. And Luigi, $114 million K-12 for next year, $76 million more for K-12 per pupil spending, kind of keeps up with inflation, keeps up with student growth. That's in addition to the Prop 123 money as well. Is that what was expected?
Well, I think what's expected is that there's going to be more money for K-12 than all the other spending priorities that we have for the state. And to a certain extent, I think this budget meets it. For Democrats, of course, they will likely say it's not enough. For example, the teacher pay, one big component of the governor's speech on Monday, the governor's only putting in about $40 million for this year, and that translates to, I think if the math's correct, about $225 per average pay increase for teachers. And so, you'll have the Teachers Association saying that's not enough. You want to keep teachers in the classroom. It's not enough if you want to cultivate this profession in our state.
Yeah, and that was, this was the teacher pay. This was probably the biggest applause line of the governor's speech. And, he said, we're going to start valuing our teachers. We're going to, show them what their work is worth to us. It's apparently probably not as much as the governor or some of the legislature would like, but this is pretty small. 2% phasing over 5 years. It's 0.4% per year for 5 years. As the head of the state teachers union mentioned to me the other day, it's really less than $1 a day. And the way he put it was, I've never had a teacher tell me, boy, if I were only making another $1 a day, I could really make ends meet. So in terms of attracting people to the profession or keeping them there, I don't know how far that's going to go. Now, we had some other things in there kind of incentivizing that. Loan forgiveness. We had a $1,000 bonus, signing bonus for new teachers who decide to go to low-income schools. It's very small incremental steps, though.
Yeah, the teacher increase was very interesting. 2% over 5 years, about $180 million per year for the first phase. The first year was $100, I should say, $100 per teacher per.
Correct.
That's not
And
much.
For a teacher, the average teacher in the States makes $46,000, $47,000, $48,000 a year. So to make the math easy, if you're making $50,000, after 5 years, you'll make $51,000. Now, to give the governor credit, the state normally does not earmark money for teacher increases. And every year, there's an inflation adjustment which goes to the schools, which they can use for their added costs, to give teachers raises, to buy books, to do two other things, pay for higher electricity bills. And so this money is on top of whatever the districts will give and will be able to give with Prop 123 money and with their normal inflation increases, which is a hefty sum every year.
Right, and I think you'll see the governor's office pushing the idea that it all adds. At the end of the day, it all adds up. I mean, you're looking at $800,000, $900,000 in an increase over 5 years. By the end of by the fifth year, you'll get $1,000 increase. On top of that, there's a signing bonus if you go to a low-income school, and then if you're a new teacher, presumably you could get your that degree without having to pay your tuition. So I think you'll see the governor's office push the idea that at the end of the day, this is still a lot for teachers. Now, if you look at single pieces, they may not amount to much. If you collectively, it is substantial.
Sure, and the state, of course, as the governor knows, as we all know, there is just not a lot of extra money to go around right now. So this is an incremental approach spread out over a lot of different things, but not just the teachers. Full-day kindergarten, this was an area that the governor addressed in his speech and in the budget. We've seen, in the past 6 months or so, this very broad coalition of business figures, educators, political figures, preparing to make a big push for this, this session, which would have been a very expensive program. They wanted it phased in. Governor Ducey starts off with just a small program. It's about $10 million, I believe, this year, $20 million next year. That just creates a full-day kindergarten program or some equivalent literacy program in the very low-income schools.
Right, that's about 8,000 kids who may be affected. Now, this doesn't just go to school. The all-day kindergarten is voluntary in the state. The state doesn't pay for it. A lot of districts, or some districts, have come up with ways to pay for it and have it in place. The very low-income schools where the literacy rates are really helped by having full-day kindergarten is where the governor is targeting this money. And if they already have full-day kindergarten, they can use their extra money that they would get as a very low-income school to add other literacy programs. So it's very targeted, but it checks off a box on the governor's list of things he wants to do in education.
Sure, and just real quick, one thing, this coalition that's pushing for this, I don't know how happy they're going to be with this, because this is a start, and that's what they've been telling me in the lead up to the budget. What they wanted to see is just a start, and they've been pitching the low-income schools as a first step. We've seen no commitment, really, though, to future steps. This, and I presume this will depend on kind of how the state's fiscal situation looks in coming years. But there is no commitment to us, a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, or anything. So this could be it, maybe not.
And you have to put this in context. So the governor's office has promised every year that he would cut taxes every year while he's governor. And this particular year, he is proposing the smallest tax cut that we have seen. This is third year in office. It's about $2.8 million in tax cuts. So it's, in terms of the overall budget, it's negligible. What that says is basically what presumably that means is he could go to a teacher and says, look, even my own priorities, I'm not putting too much money into those. I am trying to give you as much as I can given the financial constraints that we have. And so take what you can, and we'll have the conversation again next year.
On taxes, the thing that's lost with that argument, which is the governor is only asking for a relatively small tax decrease, is that every year the governor proposes a very small tax decrease, but then it gets to the legislature and you see 5 or 6 or 10 different separate pieces of legislation that help the crop dusters with their tax problem or some other special interest group. And by the time the session is over, we've got $20 to $25 to $30 million in tax cuts passed every year. And that's on top of the big corporate tax cuts that have been done in previous years.
Does he do what Governor Brewer did at times, basically saying, I'm not going to let this go through because it's just not, it doesn't balance the budget, it's killing what we're trying to do here?
Yeah, well, the way individual tax bills sponsored by lawmakers work in the budget process is that they'll get held by the Speaker of the Appropriations Chair until the budget is done, and they don't ever make it up for a vote until the budget package is done. So Those are all carefully negotiated. There's a number attached to all of them, and we decide that we're going to have $20 million or $25 million in tax cuts. So it's not willy-nilly what passes.
Yeah.
It's very well thought out. It's all in the budget, and it's all negotiated between the governor and the Speaker of the House and the Senate President, and maybe a little broader audience in the House, at least this year, and we'll see about the Senate.
But you're absolutely right. This is not happening, in and of itself. So the context is that we've been cutting taxes for many, many years now. In fact, we've pretty much given away hundreds of millions of dollars every year. And I think you'll see Democrats, the teachers union, other advocates of public education say, look, if you're really serious about funding K-12, funding the universities, you should look at reforming the tax code, and in particular, looking at tax cuts you've already made, and maybe even reversing some of those.
And speaking of taxes, no comment, no mention at all of Prop 301, which is that 0.6% sales tax. It ends mid-2020, and something's got to be done between now and then.
Yeah, I mean, we still have some time to work on this, but time, those years are ticking away, and the legislative Democrats now are really starting to make this a priority. You have a 0.6% percentage, sales tax increase that was approved in 2000, brings in, I think, around $600 million a year. They want to, obviously this is going to have to be, we're going to have to re-up on that or start making some pretty serious K-12 cuts. The Democrats are even talking about increasing that a bit to a full set. Now, I don't know how you get that past Ducey and the Republican-controlled legislature, but I'm sure we will see a push for the renewal at some point, but certainly not this year, at least so far.
And I think the governor's office, but at the end of the day, I think the governor's office is forced to lead a fight to make sure that this tax does not go away, because the math just doesn't make sense for this kind of revenue going away. And Jeremy's right. We do have some time left to either if we want to just put a straight re-up or something else. There is a little bit of time, but time's running out.
Sure, this will have to go back to the voters, and obviously there's no election this year, so you can just take that back in 2018 as well.
Yeah. The reason that we're spending so much time out of a $9.8 billion on K-12 education, besides the fact that it's important to the public, is that it's almost half the state budget. It's $4.2 billion proposed this year. $4.2 billion to K-12 schools. That's a huge number, and there's a $1.1 million school kids in this state who benefit from that money. So that's why it's always a huge part of the discussion.
Okay, real quickly, I want to get to the universities, because the universities, that's a whole different discussion here. $37 million in sales tax diverted, $30 million of which will be used as far as new bonding is concerned. The other $7 million, the governor says, do what you want to do, but I think he's got a pretty good idea what he'd like to see done with it.
Yeah, these are some pretty interesting pieces. Now, the $30 million, now with a match from the universities, this would, at least according to the governor's office, unlock about $1 billion in bonding capacity. And I'm sure some of these university presidents have probably already got some pretty good ideas in their head of how this money is going to be spent. But the other $7 million, this goes back to something that the governor mentioned in his State of the State, which was seemed like a very novel idea, which was a Arizona Teachers Academy, where basically tuition-free, debt-free people could get educated and trained to be teachers. Now, there's no funding in the budget for this. There's no plan in the budget for this. The plan is basically to tell the universities, hey, I think you guys should come up with a plan for this.
Yeah,
and then figure out how to fund it. But it said, but we're going to give you back this extra $7 million, and
Yes.
that you can use that to offset some other expenses. And maybe this is a good idea. Maybe this is something you could look at for where to spend that.
Take the hint.
Right. I think the presumption is that if the universities have $1 billion in bonding capacity, then that would free up some money that maybe some operating expenses right now that are going to building renewal, building repair, maintenance, and maybe you can free up that money so you can use it for something else. Now, it is correct. There's no plan for this teacher academy. It's not in the budget. There's no money for it, and I think they want it done, or at least the beginnings of it, the roots of it, in place by this fall. Which I think it's a tough hill to climb at this point, and we'll see in the next couple of weeks whether this is doable or not.
But Bob, when $37 million in sales taxes, when they're diverted, that means someone who got the $37 million is not getting the $37 million anymore.
That's budget math. So right now, the universities in the state, the student stores and all of their enterprise and all the other things, every time they sell a candy bar, they pay sales tax, and that sales tax goes to the state, and about $7 million of it goes to the cities. So Flagstaff and Tempe and Southern and Tucson will lose that $7 million. The universities will keep it, and $30 million that would have gone to the state will be kept by the universities. They'll use that to pay some of their bond debt, to be able to leverage that, and hopefully, I suppose, the Keynesian economics that you love so much will say, well, after the buildings are built, we'll have more, we'll have more economic activity.
Okay, so there's Keynesian economics in a nutshell there. I mean, is this going to go over? How's this going to go over? I mean, the idea of cities and towns not getting exactly what they were getting before, are they going to be happy? Lawmakers, rural lawmakers, going to be happy about this?
Well, I think the cities and towns, especially those cities where our universities are going to be resistant to the idea of taking away $7 million of funding that goes to them. But I think most lawmakers would actually be would probably welcome this idea, and the big reason for that is I think universities have been the way I describe them is the neglected child of the state. They have been neglected for a couple of years now, regardless of where this money comes from, and it is coming from the general fund. That means that that money is not going somewhere else. It is real money for the universities. It is. If they're able to bond for up to $1 billion, that would fund a whole lot of R&D facilities, you name it. So this money is real for them. And I think what we're seeing in this budget is a real effort by the governor's office to say, look, we want to give you something. We want to put you in a path to sustainability. Here's some bonding money. Go ahead and use it.
And the Board of Regents praised this in their press release. Eileen Klein said this is a great thing. Now back to the Teachers Academy, it's really interesting. They gave the universities 90 days to come up with a plan that they want implemented by fall. Well, 90 days is, let's see, mid-March, right around budget time. So they're going to be, they're under pressure to produce. And I asked the governor's staff about this during our briefing today, and I said, well, you're not giving them any money. How do you expect them to be able to do this? They said, well, they can shift some money around, some current scholarship money. The idea is to get teachers out of college without $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $80,000 worth of debt. If you if you commit yourself to 4 years of teacher education and then working in a school for 4 years, they promise you that you will not have student loan debt. That's a huge deal. They call that a raise for teachers. Mm-hmm. And anyone who has a kid in college or who's going to college now knows it's a huge problem.
Okay, so we've got education pretty much covered here, and obviously, again, it's a major factor in the budget. As far as other things, Prop 206, the increase to the minimum wage, much talk here about, we can't afford everything in the budget. Every surplus, all surpluses we have might be eaten up because we have to pay people more due to Prop 206. Is anything in this budget corresponding to Prop 206?
Well, it depends on who you ask. The governor's office obviously feels like there's money to do the Prop 206 raises and still do a lot of the other priorities. It sounds like Joint Legislative Budget Committee might have some other ideas about exactly how much money there is and how much of this that is going to get taken up. But really, there's really no choice for them to do this. The governor and the legislative leaders, they've backed themselves into a corner here. They've been in court for a month saying, oh, we have to pay this as expense on the state, even though they haven't really been paying it for years. Now that they say, well, this is mandated, it's the law, we have no choice, they kind of have to put this money in. So you're seeing about $8 million for these raises just for this fiscal year, and then another $21 million or so in fiscal year 2018 for these raises for service providers or folks who provide care for the elderly, the developmentally disabled, stuff like that. Yeah,
they're asking for a supplemental appropriation the current budget year, which ends on June 30th, of $7.7 million. Well, the total supplemental is about $36 million, but $7.5 million of that is to cover the increased cost to the state of paying their service providers higher minimum wage, of their service providers paying higher wage. These are nursing homes, operators, and just developmentally disabled aides that the state contracts with companies that have to give their employees higher wages. And
what this really proves is the budget making process. It's partly a science. It's partly science, but it's mostly art. It's creative thinking. So if there's a will, or if there's a doozy, there's a way, if you will. And what we're seeing here is that, and Jeremy's right, for a group of people who doesn't like the voters tying their hands and saying, you got to fund this, they've willingly tied their hands insofar as Proposition 206. But so what you see is a difference between the governor's budget revenues and then the legislature's budget revenues, and those have to be reconciled. But the governor's office is coming up with a bigger revenue amount, differences in caseload growth and how to fund those. At the end of the day, it's art. They'll haggle, they'll try and come up with something that satisfies both the governor's office and the legislature.
And more than the actual revenue numbers, I mean, they'll fight about that. They fight about that every year. More than that, they might start fighting about where some of this money is coming from, where some of it is going. The lawmakers have been the Republicans seem pretty amenable to a lot of what Ducey's doing. There's one thing in here that we've seen that they're not, which is this highway user revenue fund. One-time monies last year that went back to local governments for crumbling roads, stuff like that. They finally restored a lot of this money that's being cut. That's going away this year. Even from the Speaker of the House, J.D. Mesnard, we're hearing some kind of grousing about what the governor wants to do.
I thought the HERF controversy was over.
The HERF was a
1 year.
one-time expenditure, Ted. We shouldn't think that it's supposed to be ongoing. It was $87 million to fix it last year. That money is not in the governor's budget. Instead, the Democrats and I'm sure the cities and towns will probably say, you're using the money that's supposed to fix our roads, which are crumbling, and using it for schools, and that's all well and good, but we didn't say either or.
Well, and a lot of the lawmakers that will have a biggest problem with this are rural lawmakers out where many Republicans, but they're not going to be sitting still for this.
No, Maricopa County has the taxing ability to pave the roads, but if you're in Kingman, if you're in Yuma, if you're in La Paz County, if you're in Greenlee County, you rely on the gas tax money that's funneled through the state to keep your roads up. And if that money was taken 6-8 years ago during the recession to fund the state highway patrol, the rurals have been fighting for the last 3 years to get it back. There was a plan 3 years ago. They got most of it. They got the plan in place. The next year they had to negotiate it again. Last year they got this $87 million. So it's an ongoing fight.
Could that be a stumbling block then? Could you
You're
see?
darn straight it is.
Okay, so that's something to watch out for as far as the
Yeah,
session is concerned.
if Mesnard is already saying we're probably going to have a problem with this, and Mesnard is obviously from Maricopa County. I mean, imagine, Senator Griffin, Senator Borelli, a couple of those who are, who have some influence in the legislature or Republicans. They're not going to be happy with this at all.
Sure, this matters to people whose votes will be necessary to pass a budget. So the governor is going to have to give these folks something on this sometime this year.
Jeremy, as far as reaction, it's only been out for a few hours now, but as far as reaction to the budget from Democrats, from Republicans, from those somewhere lost in the middle, what are you hearing?
From the Republican side, I mean, as I mentioned before, J.D. Mesnard, the HERF thing was a stumbling block, but everything else, he likes what he's seen. I think the Republicans will like that the governor does have a plan to pay for all the stuff he talked about on Monday, and that, based on what he talked about, I mean, this could have been $1 billion in new spending if he really wanted to go hog wild on some of these things. Obviously, he's not. He's keeping this fairly realistic in a lot of areas. The Democrats are going to grouse about, the low teacher salaries, about, things like that, but
like window dressing or something along those lines.
Exactly. Yeah, it's obviously very tiny and not going to do much. I mean, this will fall along pretty partisan lines. The Republicans will fall in line. The Democrats will be the loyal opposition. There'll be a little haggling on the GOP side over HERF and probably a few other things. But for the most part, I think this will be pretty well received among the Republicans.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good analysis. I mean, the Democrats in the education community and some of the business community, even the leader of the governor's classroom first community said, listen, we have to talk seriously about revenue in this state just for our schools. We need, just to bring our teachers up to the median national average, it's going to cost $600 to $700 million a year. So that's from a Republican businessman who ran this commission that the governor set up. So we are in the world we are with the Republican governor who won't raise taxes, won't sign off on tax increases, and a Republican-led legislature that won't. So they're going to try to do what they can with the money they have and hope that it gets us by.
And I think if they can get over the hump regarding HERF funds and they can find a settlement there, I think the governor is going to be able to get most of what he's asking for in this budget. You'll see the Democrats criticize some parts of it, but at the end of the day, they're going to look at it and say, look, it's still pay raise for teachers, still more money for schools. It's still a direction that we want, which is focus on K-12 education. a little bit more money for not a little bit of money, a whole lot of money for higher education, assuming they get the $1 billion bonding capacity. So I think at the end of the day, you'll see Dems cross over and say, well, we can support this budget.
So we can call it no tax hikes, modest tax cut, slow spending growth. Pretty much bottom line?
I think that pretty much sums it up.
Okay.
It's extra spending growth, but incremental.
All right. Sounds good. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Monday on Arizona Horizon, it's our Martin Luther King Day special. We'll look at the impact of Dr. King's message on Arizonans, and we'll speak with some of the winners of Tempe's Martin Luther King Diversity Awards. That's Monday at 5:30 and again at 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. Tuesday, the legality of elected public officials appointing relatives to administrative positions. Wednesday, hear from Grammy-winning classical guitarist Jason Vio, who performed at the Arizona Bach Festival. Thursday is government financing meeting Arizona's long-term needs. And Friday, it's another edition of the Journalists Roundtable. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great weekend.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
A pleasant evening of song turns into a frightening hostage crisis. Based on Ann Patchett's best-selling novel, Bel Canto, a spellbinding new opera is about to captivate you with its tale of danger and love. I'm Renee Fleming. Join me for the powerful world premiere production of Bel Canto the Opera from Lyric Opera of Chicago on Great Performances.
Tonight at 8 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
The easiest and best way to support Arizona PBS is by becoming a sustaining member. Your monthly contribution of $5 or more comes directly from your bank account or credit card, so you know your membership is always current. It also means no more renewal notices in your mailbox. So more of your dollars go to the programs you love. It's convenient for you, greener for us, and better for the planet. Become a sustaining member today.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
At ASU, we believe the most important semester is the one that starts after you get your diploma, the one called Life. So we work hard to help our alumni thrive, teaching them the importance of not only achieving their goals, but exceeding them. With innovative programs that embrace hands-on learning, that encourages real-world growth. Our alumni know it can be the education of a lifetime, for a lifetime. For more information, asu.edu.
Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
Next time on The Coroner. Her job is to determine cause of death. But for Jane Kennedy, staying out of the way just isn't her style.
I didn't